Hi, this is the Daily Overpass. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now today I want to talk about my favorite servers. Okay, so first let me say that this is like the 5th time I've started doing this video. I keep having coughing fits. I think at the beginning of the week I just lost my voice from screaming, and now it's turned into a full-blown cold. So I apologize about that. But if like any time during the next few minutes, if it sort of goes weird and I just sort of skips forward, because I had a coughing fit, so sorry about that. Anyway, so today I want to answer another question by myvideos963. They asked on video number 77, please make a video on servers, thanks. Now servers is like a really big topic, right? So basically, like a server would be, a cloud-based, like a cloud-based computer that's always on, for those of you who don't know. It's one of these things, I always assume everybody knows what a server is. But when I meet with clients and then I bring up the fact that, oh, you also need a server for this, then they get like confused because they don't understand why, if they want to send chat messages from one person to another, that a server needs to be involved, right? Because they just think it's all going to be like peer-to-peer or whatever. So it always surprises me that people don't know what it is, but I know you guys all know what it is, but I'm just saying, in case somebody sees it that doesn't know, right? So servers is a huge topic. So what I'll do is I'll tell you what we prefer to use and some of the stuff that we've used in the past. Now, right now, my favorite tools are for the server side are to use Firebase, and Firebase is really awesome because the free tier is really, the free tier is really generous. Everything's set up for you. You use the data, store your data there, store your files there, use it for push notifications, all that kind of stuff, and it's just sort of like out of the box. You can just start using it. And the only downside I see in using Firebase, and the only thing that makes me hesitant about it, is that I'd put all my faith in using Parse back in the day. Because you go to these big events and like Facebook would be there, and they'd really push you to use Parse. Right? Like I wasn't even using Parse, but I heard about Parse so often, like you'd be a fool not to use Parse, right? So we moved everything over to Parse, right? The code changes and everything, and then they said, oh, we're shutting down Parse, right? Almost like within months of me doing that, which really sucked. It made it really hard. So that's the only downside of using Firebase, is if you're going to use something which actually means you have to change your code, like it's not agnostic to your system, right? So meaning that like if you use Firebase as a backend, you might have to put different changes in like code in your app that interfaces with Firebase as Firebase and not just like as a REST interface, which could make things difficult if you ever had to migrate Parse to someplace else. That means you also have to change the app. If we're not using Firebase, we use Node.js and usually we use Heroku. And Heroku is really good because it's cloud-based. You just spin up as many instances as you need, right? You like. So having dev, staging, and production is all very easy. Now the free tier. It's not like you can't run like an instance 24 hours. Like I think it has to shut down like a certain time of the day. But like to have a 24-hour instance, like the lowest tier, like the hobby tier they call it, is like $7 a month or something like that. So it's really good. And if you need to scale up, you can. And and of course if you have something that hits really big, and I haven't had this problem yet, then you could create lots of other different instances and then have like one instance as your main one, as like almost like a traffic cop to check all the other instances to see which, like a round robin type, like poor man's clustering kind of thing. So Node.js is cool because it's really portable, right? You could run it on a Windows server, on a Linux server, and you could use like reverse proxying through like Apache or through Nginx, or just use like whatever. So the nice thing about Heroku is you just spin up an instance and deploy to it, right? And like we have one client app right now where we've done staging and dev in Heroku, and now we're moving it to their Linux server. So we have to make a few changes like when we go to production. Like one thing about Heroku is when it restarts the instances, which can happen at any time, it rebuilds the app. So so like if you have like uploaded files, so those get wiped if they're not part of the source code, right? So that's one of those kind of one of those kind of things. But so we have to use like Amazon S3 bucket for actual uploaded files. So you upload a file, it goes to S3 bucket. And then serve from S3 bucket. But then when we migrate to the production server, we have to, or to an actual physical box, we have to move all those things over. So those are my preference. Those are my preferences. I used to use PHP, used to use C#, but I really like Node now. Now sometimes clients will come to us like they already have their server architecture, so we have to be like flexible so we can work within that. So we've done stuff in PHP, we've done stuff in ASP.NET, we've done stuff on Microsoft Azure. We've done stuff like with Salesforce as a backend or with SharePoint as a backend. I'm not a big SharePoint fan. Right, so and sometimes you just have to have that flexibility when somebody comes in. Now, like my background was as a C# developer back in the day, back when I was contracting. So I was used to using IIS and Windows servers, but now I prefer to use Linux and and things like that. So, and PHP, I used to like PHP. I used to like PHP like in 2002, right, or 2005, But it's such an old language, and I've worked with like developers who. They want to build the system for one of our clients, and we're discussing architecture, and they'll say, we want to do the back end in PHP, right? And I'll say, why would we use PHP? And they'll say, because that's what they know, because they're WordPress or whatever, right? And you could disagree with me on this, but I'm not a big fan of PHP and stuff like that. Now, in terms of data, a lot of people are going towards NoSQL databases. So we use MongoDB, a lot, but I still like, relational database systems. So we use MySQL on a lot of systems where we could use NoSQL. But especially if it's tabular data, like reports and stuff like that. I really like using that instead, even though it's old school, but you just can't teach an old dog new tricks, I guess. Anyway, so that's just what we use, right? There's loads of different solutions out there. If you don't have a lot of experience in that, or if you're hiring somebody to do something on the server, just make sure that they know what they're doing, but ideally if you're going to do server programming, you do it like in a way that like you use REST interface or something like that. At least my opinion is use REST interface or something like that. So if you had to move like your backend server from one platform to another, or completely rewrite the backend system, you don't have to rewrite the app too. Like you have the same server calls going back and forth. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. I hope that's been useful, and that's it. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.